Hi, everyone. Let's take a look at Psalm 127. The heading informs us that Solomon wrote this particular song of ascent, so we should expect there to be wisdom in the words ahead. Let's go. In my ESV, the first stanza of this song reads like this: Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. A literal translation of the Hebrew looks like this: If Yahweh does not build a house, in vain labor the ones who are building it. I'd like to make 5 observations on this part of the verse before we look at the first lesson Solomon has for us. Observation 1. The construction of this sentence is an if-then construction. If the first statement is true, then the second statement is true also. Observation 2. Yahweh, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D in English, is God's preferred way of referring to Israel's God. When this name is used, I like to remember that He deals with His people in a personal, intimate way. Observation 3. The use of the word house here is metaphorical, I believe. That is, Solomon is thinking about building a family rather than a physical structure. Although my brother who builds houses for a living will tell you that he needs God's help to do that too. Observation 4. I've capitalized the words in vain because the Hebrew really stresses these with the use of an accent mark and the noun vanity, which means meaningless or useless or insane. Actually, it reads, if Yahweh does not build a house, vanity. The Hebrew word is shav. Observation 5. The Hebrew word translated labor carries with it the nuance of drudgery. Solomon is referring to people who are trying to build a family with wearisome and exhausting and hard labor. Taking all of these things together, the first lesson of this psalm is that it is useless for God's people to try raising a family without God's help, without His blessing. Solomon would say, you may work as hard as you can, but if that work does not conform to God's instructions, the results will not be what you want them to be. Vanity, he would say. It's insane to try. Thinking of application, I as a parent must master and apply God's principles for raising a godly family. When I do that, when I apply God's instructions, most times, Solomon would agree, God will cause my efforts to succeed. Remember, it was Solomon who said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I grieve for Christian parents who ignore God's way of raising children and then find out too late what a mess they have made of the whole process. Someone once said, you can't plant peas and expect oak trees to grow. May we as parents take Solomon's advice and raise children the way God intended us to raise them.